This is what we're making today. This shirt is actually made up of 7 layers of regular schmegular Caesar easy weed, and I cannot wait to show you how I layered this. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. In today's tutorial, we are layering 7 layers of regular schmegular Caesar easy weed, and I am going to take you step by step through the full process. Now, if you are planning to tackle a project like this, exactly like this, where you're layering 7 layers, 5 layers, 6 layers, however many layers, my first suggestion is that you use one brand of heat transfer vinyl. It doesn't matter what brand you choose. I prefer Caesar. You can use the kind that you like the most or the kind that you find the most budget friendly, but I really suggest sticking with one brand. Now, with that being said, I am going to take you step by step through this process, including how I changed it up a little bit in Cricut Design Space and kind of just made it my own. If you want to do yours exactly like this, no fear, because you will be able to follow my process. At the end of this video, if you find it helpful, please remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let's head over to the computer. Without further ado, let's look at the materials and then we'll go over to the computer. Let's do that now. The materials I'm using for this tutorial include my Cricut Maker. I'm using 7 different colors of Caesar Easy Weed. I'm using a gray Gildan cotton shirt, the new HTV Ront manual heat press, and a design that I downloaded from the Creative Fabrica website. I'll also use several Cricut mats when it's time to get the vinyl cut out. Now let's head over to the computer so that I can show you the file from the Creative Fabrica website, and then we will go right into Cricut Design Space. The first thing I did was I went to the Creative Fabrica website and I did a search for Halloween gnomes, and this is one of the options that came up. And because this one says Halloween gnomes SVG, I knew that I could use this one as an SVG, but I also have other options with this file. I'm going to show you how to use this one with only regular vinyl. So I'm going to download this and I'll save it in my Creative Fabrica files folder, and I will extract it and I will upload it into Cricut Design Space. I am in Cricut Design Space, and the first thing I'm going to do with my blank canvas is change the color to gray. I'm going to click right here in the bottom right corner of my layers panel where it says blank canvas. I can see right now the color is white. Going to click in there and change the color to gray. Okay, so now when I start to work on my canvas, we can see everything that's going on no matter what color it is. The next thing I'm going to do is click over here on the left. I'm going to click on upload, and I'm going to upload the file that I just downloaded from the Creative Fabrica website. I'm clicking over here in my Creative Fabrica files, and I have a folder that's called Halloween Gnomes SVG. This file comes in multiple different file types, but I'm selecting the file type that is an SVG because I'm just using regular heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to click right here. When I look at this folder, when I open that folder, I can see that whoever created this file really took time to go in and label each part of the file, which is awesome. It's fantastic. What I'm suggesting you use, if you are a beginner and you want to do this the easiest way possible, I'm suggesting that you work with the first 2 files in this bundle. So there's a file called 3 Gnomes Color, and there's a file called 3 Gnomes Outline. I'm going to bring the outline in first. So I'm selecting the outline. I'm going to click open. This is what the outline looks like. I'm going to click continue and I'll click upload. This is fantastic because I can look and see where I can fill in the colors of the gnome. And I can look over here and I can see that this file right now is grouped. How do I know it's grouped? Because if I click on the option to work with the file, I have the option to ungroup it. Okay, and I can look and see what makes up this group. It is the three gnomes individually, and then it's the eyes from the skeleton, and then the nose. All right, so I'm going to keep it grouped. Actually, I don't just want to keep it grouped. I actually want to attach this because I want these three gnomes and all of these parts to stay together. So let's see what happens to my file in my layers panel once I go from my having a file grouped to attached. Okay, I'm going to click attach, and now I have this one layer like that. Okay, so this all will work together. All right, the next thing I want to do is bring the view down on my screen. Now I can look at this file and see that it is 12 by 7.82 and my proportions are locked. Now I do want to bring the size of this file down. I'm only going to bring the width down to 11.45. Okay, so I'm going to click right here in the width and I'm going to change it to 11.45. My proportions are locked. Okay, so it brings the whole file down. I think this is perfect. All right, I'm going to bring this file over here and I'm going to also bring the view down on my screen from 100% to 75%. Okay, now I'm going to bring in another part of the file from that folder. I'm going to click upload, upload image, browse. I'm going back to my documents, back to my Creative Fabrica files, and I'm going to go into that folder, bringing in the SVG. This time, instead of bringing in the outline, I'm bringing in the color. The rest of these files, these are just separate gnomes and in just different parts. I did not find these helpful for this process. I'm going to click on three gnomes color and open. Now this is what the gnomes look like in their full color splendor. I'm going to click continue. I'm going to click upload and bring the file in. When I look at my two files, I see they're pretty much the same. One is not colored in and one is colored in, which is exactly what I want. Now remember, I changed the size of this first file to 11.45. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm only changing the width to 11.45. So I'm going to click in the width at the top and change it to 11.45. Now both of my files are the same size. Okay, they're the exact same, 11.45 by 7.46, 11.45 by 7.46. Now this file is attached. This file is grouped. I am going to start to move these parts or these different layers over to my attached file. Okay, because remember, I'm working with vinyl and my vinyl will be in different colors and I'm going to be working with the colors I have. And I suggest you do the same thing. If you don't have these exact colors that these gnomes are wearing, use the colors you already have on hand instead of going shopping for more colors. Okay, but I do have a lot of these colors and I'm going to do my best to match them up. All right, so what I'm going to do with my group, I'm going to come over here and open the group up. I'm also going to ungroup the file. All right, and I'm going to start moving the colors over. So here's my first layer, and my first layer is orange. And I'm going to just select it from over here and bring it over here. Okay, so here's my orange layer. And if I were counting, like how many layers of vinyl do I need? I know I need a black layer. I know I also need an orange layer. Okay. And if I were to be, putting these in order, when it's time to press these, I know I would be pressing my black layer first. I might even press my orange layer second. All right, let's look at the next layer over here. So we have We have white. I think this is no, this is not the white layer. I think this layer is their noses and the hands. Let's move this. Oh, no, it's not. It's actually these shirts. Now, let me go back because I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself. So I'm going to click undo, undo. Going back, I have my layers over here. I have this layer right here and it's orange. What I want to do with this orange layer is I want to attach it. Okay, so now my orange layer is attached. My black layer is also attached. Now let's continue. All right, let's select this layer. This is my white layer. I'm going to click attach and I'm going to move it over here. So now I know I need 3 layers of vinyl. I need a black layer, an orange layer, a white layer. But if I don't have these colors, they can have on blue shirts. It doesn't matter. All right, so now let's move another layer. This is my purple layer. I'm going to click attach and I'm also going to move it over. Okay, so now we're on our 4th layer. I have my green layer. I'm going to move it down. I'm going to click attach and I'm going to move it over. Okay. All right, and then I have this layer, which is their hands. I definitely don't think I have this color. I might, but I'm not even sure what color that is. And I'm going to click attach and I'm going to move it over. Okay. And the last layer is this gold layer. I'll move it down. I'll click attach and I will move it over. Okay, that looks great so far. Now this layer, I don't need it. I have an option. I can turn it off or I can delete it. I think I'll just turn it off. So when I use this file again, in case I need it, I'll already have it. All right, so now I have my gnomes. They look great. All right, so now what I want to do is select all of this. I can see that it's still the same size, 11.45 by 7.46. I'm moving it to the middle of my canvas because now I want to add some text. Now I could use the text that was already included with the file, but I don't want that text because I want to have text at the top and bottom, and I want it to say what I want it to say. So what I'm going to do is click on text, and here I have the option to use Cricut font options, or I can use some of my system fonts. Let's see what options there are. Let's move this over. All right, let's kind of scroll down. Let's look at new and see what options they have. Okay. There was one that I found that I really like. I think it was called, BFC Ghost Vibes. I like that one. Okay, so I'm going to use that, and this is a Cricut Access font, so you will need to be a Cricut Access member in order to use it or purchase it. I'm going to double click in there, and I am going to type, have my caps lock on, trick or treat, not tream. And I am going to change the color of this to orange, and I'm also going to go ahead and attach this. I want to make it bigger. I actually want to add an offset to this. So I'm going to click on offset, and I'm going to bring the offset down to 0.111. That's the size I like. Let me see. That looks great. I'll click apply and it gives me a black offset. I like to still slice my text because I want the offset to be more of an outline than filled in. So I have the top part, the orange part selected, and I also have the offset selected. I'm going to click slice, and then I'll remove the inside of the black layer by clicking here. And I'll do this to bring it back together. That looks great. And I'll make this just, let's see, I want to make the text a little bit bigger, like that. All right, I think that looks great. All right, and then I want to do the same thing with text at the bottom. I want it to say with my nomies. So I'll click on text and I'll type with my nomies. And I am going to bring it down here and make it bigger. And I'm going to change the color of it to orange again. And I want to click attach. And I am going to add an offset, keeping the same size at 0.111. I'll click apply. I'll select both layers and I will slice and move the orange layer, take this inside layer out. I'll have this in here like that. This looks great. This looks great. All right, and I want to make this a little bit bigger. I want to do that. All right, so right now with everything selected on my canvas, the size of my file is 11.58 by 11.03. Because my file size is bigger than 11 and a half, this would require me to use a larger mat, and I really don't want to use a larger mat. So once again, I'm going to, with everything selected, I'm changing my width. I'm going to change it to 11.45. Okay, and that's great. So when I click make, I'm going to be prompted to save this. I'm going to click make. Your project will be saved. I'm going to say yes. And I want this to say trick or treat with my nomies. And I'm going to save it. And I'm going to see what happens. So here's my white layer. And let's look. Then here's my black layer. So it's still going to be all cut on the same mat. That's great. Here is my orange layer. Here is my yellowish layer. Here is the gold. Here's the green. And here is the purple. So altogether, I would need 7 different colors. Not going to use 7 mats. I'm going to condense the number of mats by putting the vinyl on the mat where it should go, but all of that will be back on the camera. So I'm going to click continue. I'm using everyday iron on, which is automatically mirrored. That's fine. I do want to keep it on the default pressure, and everything I'll do from here will be back on the camera. Have my mats prepared. I have my purple mat. Some of my mats are not as sticky as they could or should be, so I just add a little bit of tape. This is the white, no, this is the gold and green layer. This is orange, black, white, and then that yellowish color. So I have all of my mats ready, and I'm going to get them loaded, and I'll press the flashing C. I'm definitely going to speed this part up. Now that I have all of my mats and they've all been cut out, now I'm going to weed them, but I'm also going to go ahead and turn on my heat press so it can be heating up. I'm going to turn on the 315 for 15 seconds. I'll speed this part up. Thanks to the magic of video editing, I was able to quickly get 7 layers of vinyl weeded. Now let's go to an overhead view. Okay, I have the adapter piece right here. I'm going to press the power on. I did already set it for 315 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. And once it heats up to that temperature, it will beep 3 times. So I'll put the adapter right here to the side, and I will pre-press my shirt. You may hear the grass being cut outside, but that never fails when I'm recording. The grass being cut just kept getting louder and louder, so I decided to do a voiceover instead. I have done a pre-press on my shirt, and I also have a crease down the middle. I'm going to start with the black layer. You see, I did not weed out the black part of the hat because that is what makes up that gnome in the middle. So even though it's cut, I did not weed it. I'll start with the black layer. I'll press each layer for 3 to 5 seconds. And then because this is Caesar vinyl, I know I can peel it without ruining the layers. So now here I am on the, I just used yellow for the nose and the hands because that's what I had on hand. I didn't have that tan color. Once again, 3 to 5 seconds and I peel it. My temperature is set at 315, so I wasn't in any jeopardy of ruining the layers. I'm also using parchment paper between each layer. So there's my third layer, which is white. I moved on from the white to the gold layer that made up the cap, the lollipop, and the eyeballs of the spider. Did a quick press for 3 to 5 seconds. Parchment paper, not butcher paper. You can also use Teflon. I prefer parchment. And then I've started with my green layer. This is when I noticed that the layers started to kind of maybe shrink a little bit, because once I got to the purple layer, I had to cut them apart in order to get them placed properly where they needed to be on the shirt. I also noticed that I should not have pressed the green layer because I covered up the skeleton's eyeball, so I had to fix that at the end. But now here I am with my orange layer, and once again, I'm going to have to cut those not two, but 3 or 4 parts of the orange layer apart in order to get them placed where they needed to be on the shirt. Strangely enough, while I was cutting the orange layers apart, I realized that Trick or Treat was supposed to be at the top when I created this file, and it's still here at the bottom. But I also realized that I like it like this. So this will be a matter of personal preference if you are going to be following this process. Let me know in the comments, will you keep your words at the top and bottom or separated, or will you keep them together the way I did here? So now this is when I noticed I needed to go back and fix the skeleton with the eyeballs and the nose. So I went back into Design Space and just cut out that part, the eyes and the nose for the skeleton. Did a quick 3 to 5 second press on that, and voila, my shirt with all 7 layers is complete. I kind of messed it up because I wasn't careful about the placement, but I just pressed it again with parchment paper, and that did the trick in fixing the skeleton. You wouldn't have even noticed if I didn't show you. But at any rate, this is my finished shirt, and what am I going to say? I love it. I love, love, love the way this turned out, and hopefully you do too. Hopefully you found this process helpful with layering 7 layers. If you did, please remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.